Hey, family, and welcome back to a Woman's Heart Podcast, where we explore faith, inspiration, and personal growth. Today, we are diving deep into conversations with the change maker who is making a difference in the world. She is the visionary behind Factuality, and she has created an experience to have hard conversations around DEI and racial equity. It is both an innovative and award-winning experience aimed at shedding light on structural inequities using gamification. So she's a brilliant young lady, and I loved having her on the show. It was amazing conversation. So I encourage you to keep watching so you can get enlightened and educated and inspired. Hi, and welcome to a Woman's Heart Podcast, a wellness podcast where we explore faith, inspiration, and personal growth. And I'm so excited that you're joining me for another empowering message, because today we have on the show Miss Natalie Gillard. And Natalie is been around for nearly a decade, and Natalie has been at the forefront of leading factuality sessions, both virtually and in person, engaging over 60,000 participants worldwide, and from a multinational corporations to prestigious universities and government agencies. Factuality has become a cornerstone in professional development and all the initiatives around it, fostering crucial conversations and social equity. With notable features in Fortune magazine and the Memo, Natalie's impactful work has garnered widespread recognition and praise. Not only has Factuality raised over $20,000 for organizations advancing social equity, but it has also left a lasting impression, becoming an ice cream flavor in collaboration with the renowned Tahaka Brothers. So think of me as your chief encouragement officer, bringing you firsthand expertise in setting the stage as we delve into Natalie's journey, the impact of factuality, and the vital role it plays in creating a more equitable world. Welcome to the show, Natalie.
Thank you so much for having me, Edna.
Awesome. And we're happy that you could join us. We're looking forward to you sharing a little bit about your journey and also a lot of your wisdom and expertise in this area. So let's jump right on in. Why don't you tell me who you are from your heart and what makes you get up in the morning?
From my heart, I am a multifaceted, empathetic creator. Think of myself as a creator, and in a truly multifaceted way. I'm a creator of beautiful spaces. Check out the background. I love this space that I'm in right now.
It's nice.
I love, thank you. I love the space that my mind largely gets to be in. I'm really intentional about how I live and making sure that I'm aligned so that my mind feels good. And I feel so fortunate because I'm in a place in my life where both my personal and professional interests and pursuits are one and the same. And so I also get to create really incredible work that has so much meaning for the people that I get to encounter all around the globe. So that's a little bit about me from my heart, just this empathetic, multifaceted creator.
I love that. So I want to ask the question, what has inspired you to create Factuality, and how did your background influence its development? And if you could just tell us a little bit about that journey and how you got to this point where you are right now.
Absolutely. So it starts off from when I was a kid. So I am the daughter of an immigrant. My mom is from Jamaica, and my dad, who is still living, was part of the Great Migration out of the South. And so in that type of household, there was, as at a really young age, this realization of a difference between being Black American and a Black immigrant. And I've always had this really big interest in cultural diversity from when I was a kid, just from that dynamic in my household. And then seeing how we were treated and how we received outside of the household. And then also in consideration of the fact that my mom, who has this accent to this day, suddenly is no longer Jamaican, but African American, and just trying to understand all these labels that are placed upon us in this household. But that was my interest from when I was a kid. And I've been on this track throughout my entire life, joining multicultural clubs in high school and in college, and then in my professional career, always joining organizations that would allow me to develop social equity initiatives. But I was largely using what was available to me online and always having to modify it because it never felt quite like me. And a colleague walked into my office, and we didn't have the greatest relationship. There were times where I feel like she would slight me, and she came into my office and she said, you need to train my staff. At this time, it needs to go below the surface. And that was at a point in my life where I was taking a lot of things personally. And I think in this level, in this place in my mental health journey, realizing not to take things personally, but there was a benefit for me. So I need to spend some time toying with that. But I took what she said personally, and I had a Monopoly board with me, and I found myself on Google and in this thought process of thinking, how would Monopoly change if I were a pawn and the rules were based on the history of the United States? And I felt like my body was engulfed in flames. And from there, I just built out this group of 8 highly diverse intersectional characters that turned into this board game that I've brought all around the country.
I love that. That is so good. And being very creative, just taking it in, just taking it all in. So can you walk us through what participants can expect during factuality sessions, and how does it simulate structural inequities?
So I think quickly, just to expect to be transformed. That's what you can expect when you come into this program, to be transformed. But a lot of people get nervous when they have conversations about social equity. That's all I've ever known, and it's something I still see present. So in my program, you are required to not be yourself. That is the baseline requirement. And then all of a sudden that increases the comfort. And then people pick this character that differs from how they identify, especially for the board game. Then after they take their character seat, they realize and learn that the characters receive different amounts of income based on the intersection of race and gender. And then they have to follow these prompts and work as a small team of 8, navigating fact-based advantages and limitations just based on how the characters' identity markers are impacted by the facts. And it's a beautiful invitation to learn more about yourself. It increases awareness, but it all remains private. So whatever limitation you may have with your understanding of that type of content remains personal to you, but it will still engage you and push you along the way through the simulation.
I love that. So transformation.
Yes,
It's
absolutely.
transformational. Yeah, I love that.
Mhm.
So with over 60,000 participants globally, what are some common insights or reactions you've observed from individuals experiencing this factuality program or a game that you're going through?
Sure, that we all have the capacity to hold space and extend grace to each other. That happens every single facilitation. Although I'm talking about social equity or whatever the acronym that is controversial, like that's what it's about. But where I ground people is in an understanding of holding space just to be. We all just want space to show up fully. And that is the common thread throughout every facilitation. Like, are you creating space for people to show up fully? After going through this simulation, if you could feel this way in just 90 minutes, what is it like for people who have to do it 90 plus 90 plus 90? And are you doing enough to allow people to show up and just be, just the way you want to show up and just be?
I love that. I bet you get lots of testimonials from those participants that are participating, and just the impact of what you're bringing.
I have people who played years ago who will reach out to me and tell me this is still on my mind, or I talk about environmental racism. I still notice the difference in tree sizes between
Right.
communities that have more wealth than others, or I'm so mindful about my pain medication prescription, and because I know that there are racial disparities around the way pain medication prescriptions are shared or given to people. So there are things that are long lasting. You might not remember all the facts, but you'll remember some things that pop up and present in your respective life.
Wow, that's pretty impactful.
Yeah.
And very powerful, very
Yeah.
powerful. So thank you for the work that you're doing, because we absolutely need women like you in the world, making this so transparent and so helpful and intentional for people to be able to understand from a different perspective,
Yes. Thank
So
you.
I love that work you're doing. So could you share some, or maybe one success story of an impactful moment for a factuality session that really stood out for you?
There's one that if I'm ever asked this question, and it happens once in a while, there's one story that always presents itself immediately. And it was a few years ago, I was working at a community college way out in Western Maryland, where it's not the most inclusive or diverse space from my own personal experience.
Right.
And I remember I had an attendee where they wanted to assign a seat because of just concerns around participation.
Mhm.
And otherwise, people sit wherever they'd like to sit because that's the best way to increase engagement. Sit with your friends or sit with people you're
Right.
friendly.
That's how we do.
That's how we
It's
do.
cliquish. Yeah. It's like, see what
But, and that's what makes it work really well. And
Right.
this particular person had an assigned seat and they sit down at the trans character and throughout the entire facilitation. Why would they change? They're ruining their lives. They're ruining their family's life. Why? And going on this rant while sitting next to a trans woman. And
Right.
at the end of the facilitation, during the reflection, they both get up at the same time, which was very unusual. I've never seen anyone get up together.
Yeah.
And so he grabs the mic and he's like, trans this, trans that, you're ruining everything. Why would you do it? And then
Right.
he passes the mic to the trans person who says, and I'm sitting next to him and I'm trans. And then she starts to cry while it was just bad. The president shows up and
Right.
this person takes the mic back and he's going on and on about changing. And he says, I played my character. I'm talking to this person next to me who's trans, and I realize they don't need to change. I do.
Wow.
I need to change.
That's
And
impossible.
so, right, yeah. And it was like the room just went silent. I'm trying not to cry. And it was just this moment of like, oh, the change does start with you. We
Yeah.
expect everyone else to change, but we can only control ourselves. And
Yeah.
so several months later, I go back to do another session. So it's really common. If you bring me in for one, there's typically going to be subsequent.
You want to have that follow-up. Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's do
yeah. And so
it again.
they have me come back and they say, Natalie, you wouldn't believe who signed up to come back to your program. It's the same young man.
Mm.
And he didn't have any classes that day. It was at an institution. He didn't have any sports that day. And so
Right.
when I see him, I said, you're back. What brought you back? He said, I learned so much the first time I wanted to come back and try a different character. On its
Wow.
own, change starts with us.
It does. I love that. That's so impactful, Natalie.
Thank you.
That's
Thank
so
you.
impactful. And knowing that you're the one bringing this whole transformation in that environment, that must feel amazing. Like you're walking out your purpose. You were
Yeah,
purposed to make this game. You were purposed to make this experience.
that's what my dad tells me. He said, this is what you were put here to do.
Purpose.
And so this is my purpose. I'm always moving in it. And when I stopped to really think about who I've been able to reach, and some of those types of success stories, it could bring me to tears. I feel a little misty right now, but it gets me feeling emotional because it's like, this is really, really good. And in a climate that doesn't always validate this type of work, to know that you're still able to make an impact is, I can't even describe it.
Yeah, I know that must feel so good. And then staying grounded in your resolute in your truth about
Yes.
what you bring. And that's what I love. And even the first time I met you, I was like, she is awesome. Then I went out on your website and I was like, oh my gosh, she's amazing, you know.
Thank
And
you.
so absolutely. So with that said, factuality has been widely recognized and
Yeah.
utilized by multinational companies, universities, and nonprofits. So what do you think contributes to its effectiveness in supporting professional development initiatives and fostering conversations around social equity?
It is the most unconventional approach to having this conversation that also built around having fun. It's so many things in
Yeah.
one. Most importantly, it's effective.
Yeah.
And it is known to be effective. And I think that's what contributes to the success. Because we did a little bit of digging into our inquiries. How are people finding out about us? And over 90 or nearly 90% rather is through word of mouth.
Wow, that is amazing. So just referring,
Yeah,
just
referrals.
referrals. I love that.
Mhm.
You have a good problem, right?
Yeah.
Most companies want to have that problem, and you have that. So
Yeah.
it's a good problem. It's a
Thank
good
you. It
problem
is
to
a good
have.
problem.
It's a good problem. So I love this. So can you share your information with the audience, your website, and how they can get in contact with you? So if they want to further the conversation, or even have you come in and talk with their staff and go through the process, how can they get in touch with you?
Absolutely. So my website is factualitythegame.com. That's FACTUALITY, factualitythegame.com. And if you just want to meet me right away and go into a demo, it's factualitythegame.com/demo. You can set up time to connect, explore the tool, meet with me, and we can figure out how to get this experience into your corporation, organization, or institution.
Yes, I love that. So, and I have one more question around that. You can custom design kind of the time frame that they're looking to have this experience, right? It could be
Absolutely.
what, an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, depends on what they're looking to accomplish. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Yeah. Sometimes I've had really, really rapid sessions at conferences, 30 minutes, and I do all the way up to half days, full days where people can actually get continuing education credits.
Oh my gosh, that's so awesome.
Mhm.
Continuing education credits? That
Yes,
is so
yes.
good. See, now you took it to a whole nother level. We have to talk offline. That's like, every time I talk to you, it's like something else kind of bubbles up out of the conversation. I'm like, what? It's just too awesome. I love it. You
Thank you.
definitely have purpose to do this, and you're doing a great job at it. So thank you again. So
Thank you, Edna. I appreciate that.
wonderful. So with that said, too, is there anything else you want to share with the audience while you have opportunity to kind of, I might not have asked the question that you want to just share some facts around factuality or anything else that you want to share before we kind of sign off.
Yeah, yeah. Don't be fearful of these types of conversations,
Mhm.
independent of conversations that touch upon subjects like diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging, all those types of things that are comparable. When it comes down to our lives in general, what are you able to reconcile that you don't face head on?
That's good.
Tell me, tell me. I don't know of anything that you can reconcile if you do not approach it head on. And this is
Right.
one of those areas that you have to approach head on as well. So whether it's in DEI plus or not,
Hmm.
make sure that you are approaching the obstacles that present in your life if you truly want to reconcile them. And it's the same thing that applies here too.
That's awesome. Thank you for that. And in the climate that we're in right now, we need what you're doing more and more. Take
I've
a
never
deep
known
breath.
of a more important time to have this conversation. I agree.
Right.
Mhm.
Absolutely. So I want to say to you that you're a great, amazing woman, and you are a business owner, you're educator, you're a social advocate. So what is next for Natalie?
Oh, goodness gracious. I am dreaming so big.
Good. Good.
Yeah, I'm dreaming really big. At the core of this body of work was me learning about the history of redlining and
Mm. Hmm.
and residential segregation policies that still present in major cities all throughout the country.
Hmm.
And I think that when we have a home life that feels really good to us, when we can occupy beautiful spaces, create beautiful
Right.
spaces that allows us to show up differently in the world. So I've been trying to think about how I can marry my love for sharing the facts about residential segregation with improving communities that have been impacted by these policies. So that's as much as I could say right now, but I'm
Working
just
through
trying
it.
to see
Yeah.
where I can allow my love for the history about segregation in different neighborhoods collide with my love for creating beautiful spaces as this multifaceted creator that I alluded to in the beginning. So
I
more to
love
come there. Yeah.
it. Awesome. Well, we're looking forward to it. I know it's going to be
Yeah.
amazing, whatever it is. You
Thank you.
all just have to get out on her website and you'll see what I mean. Okay. It's awesome. So,
Mhm.
Natalie, it has been a pleasure having you on the show today. And thank you so much for taking time to share your wisdom and expertise. You truly are a woman who is impacting the world around her. So, thank you.
Thank you so much, Edna.
Yes. And as we wrap up, if you have enjoyed our time together, remember to share this podcast, like and subscribe, and share it with your friends. And if you'd like to connect with me, you can reach me at voemetoday@gmail.com. And if you want to learn more about our services and resources, you can reach me at voicesoфencouragement.com. And I want to say, remember, be bold, be true, be kind, be you. And until we meet again, Ephesians 4:1, walk worthy of the call for which you were called.